This is the Misdirected Mark Podcast, a podcast about gaming, game mastering, and entertaining you, our listeners. We are explicit, you have been warned, and I'd like to thank Mike Willard for letting us use his music on our show. Now let's pick up those mics and get on with this thing.
Okay, Phil, I'm gonna owe you a favor, but you have to do the show shirtless.
Seriously, we take a month off and this is where you go right on the first opening?
Absolutely.
I'm not sure my eyes can handle the reflection.
Plus, you know...
I'm Scottish, man. Don't be giving me shit about that. I'm
man.
like translucent.
Now, I'm sure... Look, man, I'm sure it's not that bad, but there's probably a number of people out in the chat room and in viewer land that will, enjoy that.
I mean, if you're into scar porn, I guess it's true. I got a pretty bitching scar.
So you're gonna do it?
I mean, yeah, man, coffee. So Baghdadi's going skins on this episode.
Coffee it is. Now, Bob, I will buy you a coffee if we can set you on fire.
Yeah,
No.
now we're up
The
to
beacon
it.
is lit. Gondor calls for aid. And with that, we're back from a month off. This is the 381st episode of the Misdirected Mark Podcast. I'm Old Man Logan.
I'm Phil.
And I am Chris, and it's so good to be back in front of the microphone and in front of the camera with you two, my two very good friends.
I'm not sure I'm that pale.
I'm probably paler than you are.
These are the gags, right?
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm pale. I'm half Scottish, right? So I'm like partially translucent.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, without a doubt.
So let's get to that one thing, by the way. We should probably do one thing. By the way, we're going to talk about transactional complications today. Complicational transactions, whatever way you want to put it together, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We're gonna break down what that even means.
We're going to
Yeah,
break it down.
In fact. But before that, one thing. So,
One
Bob, what's
thing.
your one thing?
So my one thing, because I was having trouble thinking of something, but I feel like we need the opening to Iron Man 2 here. I think we need, it's good to be back, and then, a little
I don't
Justin Hammer dancing on the stage.
I don't pay attention to Iron Man 2 because Iron Man 2 was not the movie that it could have been.
Yeah, but it's got its shining moments in there.
It's not terrible as some people think it is.
Justin Hammer
It's underrated.
For one is hysterical, and two, the party scene when Rhodey shows up.
Oh yeah.
Drop some beats. So
She wants the Gallagher.
yeah.
There you
I haven't
go.
seen that movie in so long. I can barely remember it.
I'll tell you what I like is that I'll tell you the one thing I like about that, and then we can actually get on to the real thing. So, since the MCU decided to go with Tony Stark as PTSD Tony Stark, which I think was a brilliant,
Way better than alcoholic Tony Stark.
But Iron Man 2 is the one place where you get to see what alcoholic Tony Stark would have looked like.
It's true.
Right, so
very true.
like it's actually like a little callback to the comic books when Tony was,
It was their little wink, wink.
yeah,
But we're
and
not
then they
gonna
get
go
rid of
here.
it.
Yeah.
Like I actually think PTSD Tony is actually a much better and far more interesting character. I had to explain this to Dante the other day because he was like, I didn't really like Age of Ultron. And he's like, it's kind of dumb that Tony built this robot that went bad. And I was like,
No,
okay.
it's not.
I'm like, let me explain to you why Tony can't control himself. Like,
Yep.
hence Iron Man 3 and Avengers 2. So
Yeah.
anyway,
So yeah, that's it's good to be back.
So good to be
Chris,
back.
what about your one thing?
My one thing. So I went to. Oh, I just did something.
Whoa.
Nope, fixed it. Anyways, I went to Gathering Game, and it's not for the month, just for this past week. We'll talk about the month later. I went to Gathering Game on Saturday and played games for about 5 hours, but the one game that I played that I ended up buying, and that's unusual for me because I don't usually buy games in game stores or often, especially board games, was a game called Bunny Kingdom. Now, it seems like this adorable, cute game because it's called Bunny Kingdom, but really it's this pretty intense coordinate-based map game where you're drafting cards to try to put your bunnies in control areas.
interesting.
It's really good. Also, I'm pretty sure it's a Richard Garfield game, so that'll tell you something.
I mean,
I like Garfield's designs for the most part.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, Schmitty said they like it as well.
Yeah, Bunny Kingdom. It's so much fun. So I actually bought it. Actually laid down some cash for it. It was a $50 game.
Nice.
But
What's that other rabbit game with the cards?
Magic
Killer
Carrot?
Bunnies.
That game is terrible.
Yeah,
oh,
I was not
God.
a fan.
Whoa, jeez, why would you bring that up?
Sorry.
Game is so bad.
Whoa, game's awful. I once played like a 2-hour tournament of it at Gen Con. I was like, literally, I don't know what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, I have opinions about the game. It's not fun.
It's not fun.
So
it doesn't make
apparently
any sense.
We're gonna X card We're gonna X-Card
let's
Killer
just
Bunnies from now
X-Card
on.
that game.
Fuck that shit, man. You want to talk about games with bunnies, man? Let's talk about fucking Root or something.
I know, right? So, actually, if we're gonna just talk real quick about board games, Jerry Meyer, a patron and friend of the show, and been a host on some of the different streams that we've done, he gave me a copy of Vast. Do you guys know what Vast is?
No.
Vast is a game that's very much like Root, except it's set in a dungeon. So it's like that asymmetrical play. When we played 3 players. I was the knight. Jen was the dungeon, like the cave that was trying to collapse on everybody. I was the knight trying to kill the dragon, and then the dragon was trying to wake up and escape, and that was Bridget.
Interesting.
And there's a rogue and a goblin community too.
Interesting.
It's really fun. I really like it.
Interesting.
So that's it. I'm good.
Cool.
Interesting.
But it's over my right shoulder somewhere, probably. I don't know. It's around here somewhere on my
Yeah,
right
it's behind
shoulder.
you.
It's over on this side. Yeah, it's fun stuff. I like it. Good stuff.
Times.
All right. That's who's Phil?
Phil.
Tell us about your one thing.
Minecraft Season 3 has begun.
Yeah,
What?
baby.
Schmitty got the server up,
Block.
and we tested the server pack and found it to be worthy of launch. And the Minecraft server is like back up and hopping. There's like, I went on yesterday, it was like 5 people logged in. Everybody's in there working away. It's good stuff. I really like the mods that we put in for this season. Capsule seems
Oh
to
my
be
god, capsules are the bomb.
Capsule seems to be super popular.
Is that where you can put a thing in a capsule and carry it with you?
Yeah. In fact, I built my house so that my capsule house sits on top of it. And when I leave, I just take the capsule house with me and just like go off to wherever and deploy it.
I really want to make a bumper for when we talk about Minecraft, so we can go block, block, block therapy, like pop.
No, you know what you need for
yeah.
the bumper is you need the Rick and Morty quote.
Which one's that?
Jesus, Morty. So you mine stuff to craft and craft stuff to mine. Did your dad make this game?
What episode is that from?
I don't remember,
that.
but I love
It's a thing.
Yeah. Anyway, season 3 is off to a start. I started season 3 pretty aggressively. Like
He did.
I when testing the pack, I came up with a optimal route to kind of get through early game and into mid game pretty quickly. And when we launched the server, like I took off, and I like within 2 days, I was like, well, early phase of this game is done. Like I can just settle into a nice mid phase, and I am definitely like now comfortably in middle phase. As everyone else is also doing their thing. So I think big thing we're gearing up for, I think it's going to be this week. We're going to coordinate. We're going to go on
An end run.
and kill the dragon.
Already?
It'll be quick.
It's so soon in the season.
That fucker needs to get out of the way so we can start exploring.
Do Minecraft seasons last like 3 weeks? Is that
No,
it's longer than
It'll be I got a lot of work to do. There's like so many packs in this thing that like there's so many different things to explore now. Like when we did it originally, Schmitty did this really good job of making this like Schmitty and Bob made this really tight pack. So the problem was like we went through and like did everything.
Okay.
So then we ran out of stuff to do. And when you run out of stuff to do, like you start slowing down. So this one, we added like a bunch more stuff to it. I think we went from like 30 mods to like 90 mods.
Something like that.
I forget how they count, but
Schmitty was mentioning in the chat that you need to lighten it up for next season for performance reasons.
yeah,
we
we can
have a
take
few
a
things
well,
that-
we can take a few things out of it. But there's some mods that have some cool late game like ridiculous shit you can do, like fusion reactors and shit like that.
Yep.
That Tony
Yeah, totally.
Tony will definitely like. So yeah, we'll figure out what the piggy mods are. I suspect Twilight Forest is one of them.
Anything with extra dimensions, because it's bad enough when you get a bunch of people with flight rings all going in different directions on the map and you're loading different chunks.
Yeah.
But then you add another dimension like Twilight Forest, and that's just another thing
Yeah.
that it's got to...
We're kind of beating it down. Yeah. But yeah, we'll trim out a few. I mean, we try a bunch. We took some out from last season that we didn't like. We'll do the same thing this season. We'll take a few out that either didn't get a lot of play or people didn't like. But I'll just say, man, vein mining.
Mm-hmm.
That just sounds dirty.
It sounds dirty, but it's super useful.
So
It's just-
filthy.
I know. I know. Anyway,
Do we have any friends that go vein mining?
everybody vein mines. on
Everybody
Minecraft.
vein mines. Sounds about right.
Everybody, vein
Everybody.
Sometimes. I knew what you're doing there.
Yeah. So anyway, good stuff.
All right, so we moving on to the next thing then?
Moving on.
Moving on.
All right. Philip, I am tuning the plasma drive.
Aligning spatial matrix.
Activating all plasma relays.
Blast off for adventure with infinite galaxies.
Are you ready for some sci-fi action-packed adventure? Robots, aliens, laser guns, starships, all of it, and all of this and more can be yours.
Infinite Galaxies is a powered by the Apocalypse game based on favorites like Dungeon World and Apocalypse World, and includes new systems to promote high-velocity action.
Infinite Galaxies can be played using popular science fiction settings from literature, cinema, and television, and includes advice for those who want to create their own settings.
Infinite Galaxies is available on PDF and in print at DriveThruRPG and Indie Press Revolution. Check it out today.
You know, when I buy into the bit and nobody else buys into the bit,
I can't do that voice, man.
You can't do that radio announcer voice from the 50s.
It loses its charm if all three of us are doing it.
Yeah, one of us has got to do the. Yeah.
Oh, I suppose.
You were right there. You were dialed in, man.
I tried.
Anyway, that's us having fun with our ad copy. But I've actually been flipping through Infinite Galaxies. Really nice. So, really nice. I'm looking at it in terms of, boy, I've always wanted to play Star Frontiers, and no, I don't want to play 1980s Star Frontiers ever again.
Ever.
So I'm thinking there's only like a short hop to just get the species into this game, and then I think this game will do everything I would need it to do to play Star Frontiers.
Nice.
There you go.
Nice.
So I think that would it would be very much a cool little mod, like a cool little hack for this game, is to get Star Frontiers in there.
So our next ad, should we do it in NPR voice or in movie announcer voice?
I will. I'll let you do the NPR voice. I think that'll be a good one.
Welcome to Never Unprepared, which is now available on Audible from Encoded Designs. It was written by Phil Vecchione and read by Kobe Elliott from Last Word Audio. You can download it now on Audible. Find Never Unprepared, the audiobook, on Audible.
Nailed it. That's good.
Sorry.
Yeah,
I really want to do in a world where no one's ever prepared. No, that would have been pretty
In
funny
a world
too.
where GMs cancel games
Yeah,
because
right?
they're not prepared.
See, we'll have to do that next.
Okay, that'll be next week.
One,
We'll.
yeah. All right. Well, those are two of our announcements. Yeah, Never Unprepared's on audiobook.
So this was a thing that where Kobe Elliott from Last Word Audio came to us, and Colby has done Lazy GM's book.
Yes.
So Colby contacted us and was like, "Hey, I'd like to work with you guys to make an audiobook."
This is any award-winning Kobe.
Yeah, right. So I was like, "Cool." I'm like, "Can we hear some of your stuff?" And then like he sent like a sample bit from Never Unprepared, and we were like, "Yes, please." So Colby has been working on this for a couple months, and we've just kind of had it in the background. And then just right before Thanksgiving, got the green light.
I listened to the whole thing, and Blake Ryan Batman, the reason that Chris didn't do the audiobook is because Kobe is actually better at it, way better at it than I would be.
Yeah.
Not that I wouldn't be good at it, but not as good as Kobe.
Colby's smooth sounding.
Man, wait till you hear this thing. I listened to the whole book. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's really like, this is Colby's shtick, right? Like I'm pretty sure Colby's got like a studio, like, room studio kind of thing at his place. So anyway, good stuffs. And
by the way, if you're not an Audible member, you should be an Audible member. I love Audible. Like, I listen to a lot of audiobooks.
I will say it's on Audible, but I think it will propagate to like, because once it's on Audible, I think it goes to other places.
Maybe. I wouldn't know, because I don't use any other audiobook platform other than Audible. I have like a 200 plus book library, that's why.
At some point, I might just, whatchamacallit, I might just go find and see if it's on iTunes or something like that. But anyway, that's, let's just say that's going to be the beginning of, I think, a very cool friendship.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
Good stuffs.
So should we make a stroll over to our garage for the first time in a while?
Yeah.
The garage.
I mean, I got to get down some Christmas ornaments and stuff.
I gotta hit a couple of buttons first. Let me just find them.
Access granted.
There we go. We're in.
Mm-hmm.
So, a month ago, we put a pin into our list for the Devil's Bargain. It's a mechanism
Chris's favorite.
Man, I am not a fan. Not a fan of the Devil's Bargain. I'm a little bit more of a fan these days. It depends on how the Devil's Bargain is used, but just not my favorite thing. So we weren't quite sure if that was enough for a full garage, and after a little bit of discussion, we decided to expand this talk into mechanisms that create complications, but they cost something. So these are called, in our in our language, in our terminology, I suppose.
Yep.
Transactional complications.
I don't think they're named like that anywhere else.
Yeah, so that's, there is some sort of transaction that lets you get a resource.
Yeah.
And that's what we're calling it. So, get us started, buddy, with how these things work. Hit me up with your definition panda version of it.
Yeah. So for starters, let's just,
wait, can you do it in your best Isaac Hayes voice?
Yeah, baby.
Hello, children.
For starters. No. For starters, complications.
Come on, man, you had it.
Doing the whole bit in my Isaac Hayes
You
voice.
can just do the first line.
For starters, complications are events in games that make an action or situation more difficult.
Yes, high five. That's right.
Gotta go for the pause, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Word.
Okay, so complications, right?
So in other words, asking you to take your shirt off for coffee isn't actually a complication for you. Then.
I mean, not technically.
Yeah, not
right, yeah.
technically. All right, just checking.
Right. So complications, right? So now, this is often done, like our complications are often done by adding an additional problem to be solved, or some sort of unintended consequence, right? Like what we're not doing, I guess to be clear, is we're not stymieing a success, right?
Correct.
We're tangentially messing with something, not the core task at hand.
Not even just that, but also like we can bring these up in narrative too, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, so now when we're talking about a transactional complication, we are talking about a mechanic that introduces a complication into the narrative, but in turn gives the player something as a benefit.
Correct.
Right.
So I believe that too.
Yeah.
I also put the pause.
Okay. So these mechanics incentivize complications by providing a mechanical reward for introducing a complication, right? So now that there's a thing you can get, you're more inclined, and I'm going to say you, but we're going to talk about this a little bit. Not everybody finds this mechanic easy to use.
No, not at all. Like it's because a lot of times we'll talk about it later, but it's about you have to like make up something that is not really interfering with what's going on.
And it's also a trust thing,
That
right?
too.
It requires a certain level of trust in your game master, in the game, etc. All right, so the complication that you're trading for, right? Like the complication occurs in the narrative, and the player gets a mechanical bonus.
Yes.
That they can either use right away, or depending on your rules, or either used right away or banked or whatever.
So I could offer you to buy you coffee, which you could drink at the moment it's bought or later.
Whew, you're really pounding the shit out of that bit, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. Why not?
You just ride that into the ground.
I mean, but only if you take your shirt off.
So yes, all right.
But if you take your shirt off while blind, well, you're not, so you can still drink it. Me and Bob won't see you drink
All
it.
right. Let's get this over with.
Do it up. Here we go. If you're watching on
here we
stream,
go.
it's happening right now.
Takes off his black shirt for another black shirt.
Well played.
Yes, that was brilliant. Oh, thank you so much.
There
for
we
escalating
go.
that. All right,
That's what
so
happens, man.
I'm going to sit here and
Heart of
contrast.
darkness.
When you commit to the bit.
I'm going to contrast this thing. Thank you for committing. I'm going to contrast this with something like a 7-9 result in a PBTA move. So a 7-9, it often creates some sort of additional complication, but the player does not receive anything in return. So this is not a transactional complication.
Correct. It's just a complication.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's just a complication.
By the way, for those who didn't see the stream, and for our listeners who are listening to this in podcast form, I took off my black polo only to reveal I'm wearing a black T-shirt.
It's the reason you should watch the stream on Tuesday evenings at 8 p.m. Eastern.
Yes.
Because there's going to be more jokes like that in the future, I'm sure.
Yes. We'll keep the sight gags down to a minimum, but yes.
I hope not.
Okay. Well, we'll have some sight gags.
Yes. So often this kind of complication, it's a success mitigator, right, Phil?
Yeah. Yeah. So.
This means that the activity was successful, but it's mitigated by some sort of complication.
Yeah, and again, you're not getting anything for it. It's just the outcome. So if we look at like 10 plus is a success with no strings attached.
Well, it's just you get what you were trying to do.
Exactly. So a 7-9 is you get what you're trying to do, but and ...
And there's no transaction there because it's just the mechanics doing what the mechanics are doing.
Right. And like in Fate, when you fail a roll, you can choose to succeed with a complication.
Yes, you can.
Right? And that is basically trading failure for a complicated success.
Yeah, and actually that's That's actually a transactional complication too.
It is actually
because
transactional.
it's just flipped the other way, which we'll talk about. It's the player offering the GM the transaction.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Although it's sort of not, because the GM doesn't have a choice to turn it down.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yep. So it's
Not really. So there's like
something levels of this stuff.
Something's gained, but it's not a bargain kind of thing. Yeah.
Because they just get to choose to do that or not. So as we just spoke, if there's no offer from the GM or from the player, there's no transaction.
Yeah.
So it's not really, it doesn't fit into this umbrella of mechanisms. All right, so why don't we just break this down now? Like actually step by step, kind of what happens when these things occur in its most, I suppose, simplest form.
Yeah. I mean, this isn't reminiscent of any specific game, but this is kind of how one of these things works.
So there's a point in the narrative where a complication could occur.
Yeah. So this is like, like a very common point for this would be like during a skill check.
Yep, or during the coffee buying portion of the evening.
I even took my shirt off to try to put this thing in the ground, man.
See, we got serious for a while, and then it came back.
If you commit to the bit, you cannot quit.
That's
All right. Jeez, man. Yes.
all right.
All right, so let's go back over this. There's a point where a complication could occur.
Yeah, it could be during a skill check, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
What's the other thing?
All right, so at some point, then someone's going to initiate the transaction, right? So this could be, depending on your rules, this can be the player, this could be the GM, this could be another player, depending on the game. Yeah.
Absolutely. So at that point, someone initiates the transaction, right?
That's what we just talked
about.
about.
That? Sorry,
Yeah.
I was still laughing about the
Yeah,
last
it's
time
okay.
it happened. So the transaction is then defined, which has two parts to it.
Yep. So first, the complication has to be presented, right? There's no order to this, right? But usually the GM comes up with the complication, like, if you do this, you will definitely make more noise than you intended.
Of course, we can also ask the players at the table for some help in defining the complication.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, Bob, tell me what you think. Do you have any ideas, or Phil, do you have any ideas about how I can make your life terrible?
Yeah, exactly.
Your
You
character's
could
life
totally
terrible, not
have
your life terrible.
my arch nemesis come walking into the room and reveal their part in the thing that's going to cause trouble with my entire family, and it's going to rain down on me.
Seems reasonable. Let's
Go.
do that. Let's have some fun with that.
Yeah.
All right. So
So then after the complication is presented, then the player bonus is presented. Now, in a lot of cases, this is set in the mechanics.
it is set in the mechanics.
Like it's not a wide open thing. Like if you take the complication, you get a die, a point, some bit in the game, right?
That is the most common one.
Yeah, yeah.
Some sort of boon or resource that can be used.
Right.
There are other boons though that could be part of this.
Oh,
mechanic,
yeah.
I mean, if you were playing something that's way more narrative way more narrative game, like, all right, I will cause this thing to happen, and you want this thing to happen, so we'll have both of those things happen. They seem about right.
Yeah. That would be interesting. I can't think of a game off the top of my head that does that, but yes, that's exactly how it. You'd be trading narrative complications. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting.
So,
Right. So during this phase, there is a chance for some negotiation, right? Because maybe you don't really like the complication presented, but the GM's willing to be like, all right, cool. If you don't want to make too much noise, then how about you drop one of your tools and leave a sign that you robbed this place?
or for instance, instead of taking your shirt off, you'd rather take your pants off.
I mean, sure,
Yeah, why not?
pants, man.
I mean,
You know-
I might not want that, but
You
know.
don't think I got black boxers under here?
I'm sure that you do. Like
Oh, I do.
I mean, I'm pretty sure there's probably black boxers under there. Although, if I had to like actually take the guess, I would imagine they're the boxer briefs that are black.
That is true.
Yeah. See, there you go.
Boxer brief guy for
The
sure.
boxer brief is superior to the boxer in all ways.
The boxer brief is superior to all men's underwear. Period.
So, after this part is done, like when we've negotiated and all that good
Yep.
stuff, the transaction is agreed upon.
Yeah, at some point we arrive at some sort of agreement. You're like, yes, I'll take the die. You can have you can introduce your complication.
And sometimes this isn't required, as we mentioned earlier, because
Yeah, we'll talk about a couple games where that's not a thing. Yep.
and then we're all done and we move forward with the transaction is done. Boons are handed out. Complications are put into the game, the
Yep.
narrative part of the game, or whatever part of the game.
Wherever
Maybe
it was.
Maybe the complication is you take an injury and you have some sort of like wound on your character sheet now.
Yes.
Yeah. You enjoying the chat room? The chat room's pretty funny tonight. I think we've helped with that, but they're always awesome. So
Yes.
All right.
There's a question about boxer briefs. Not a thing we're talking about tonight. Maybe in the after show. Okay.
And that's it. That's the process.
That is the overall process, right? Like, I mean, we got into a lot of detail. It happens quicker than that at the
It's
table.
so much more complicated than it sounds.
It sounds more complicated than it actually is in play.
I mean, it sounds so simple, but it's way more complicated in description, and then it's simple in play.
Yes,
Something
exactly.
Something like that.
Something
right?
like that. Let's talk about a few games that have transactional complications, so that we can highlight what this mechanic looks like.
Fate, because I want to compel your aspects.
Yeah, man.
Be compelled.
Like, compel is a transactional complication, right?
Absolutely. I mean,
Like, all right? So on the GM side, what does the GM get
they get a complication.
based on?
Their aspects.
Yeah, based on the character's aspect.
Or,
Usually,
or
like
aspects in the scene, or aspects on the table,
Sure.
or aspects in the overall narrative. Pick an aspect.
Yeah.
Compel it.
well, compel is often a player, right? So it's got to be one of the player's aspects.
Sure. I can. It doesn't have to be a character aspect, though. It can be in the narrative, because
Just has to complicate the scene, and then it has to complicate a player's action.
It
right?
does, or complicate the narrative for the players. Then everybody gets a point. That's a thing that happens.
Yeah. Okay. I haven't actually done that very much, but that's
Me
interesting.
neither. It's a very rare one, but it exists.
Okay. And then the player side of that equation is the fate point.
Uh huh.
So take the compel, get a fate point.
I think there's a thing that a lot of people don't think about in Fate, which maybe they should, because compels are essentially hooks.
Yeah.
So anytime you drop a hook on somebody and they pick it up, you just hand them a fate point.
Yeah.
Because those aren't generally character aspects. Those are just story things that happen, and then you can make an aspect out of it and be like, all right, the bad guy is doing the thing, and then you put it on the table.
Yeah, but I mean, if we're talking about orthodox fate, right? Like, it has to be an aspect.
Yeah, I mean,
An aspect.
You just create the aspect out of.
Yeah.
I'm getting to the point of where Rob Donahue or some of those people were talking about Zen Fate.
Yeah, which is fine. I don't want to confuse people who maybe have not played Fate
If
yet.
you want to do it that way, you just have to write an aspect out for it, put it on the table, and be like, I'm compelling this.
Yes. And then give somebody fate point for it.
Uh-huh. Which I think is an underutilized version of the fate point.
I do too. It's not a thing I often do. I often will go after a compel on a particular character, largely because I like trouble aspects and I like to see how people will screw things up. Or make things worse off, right? Now, again, this doesn't mitigate success,
No,
right?
not at all.
So this is just like, yes, you're going to roll to parlay with, the Marauders, but I'm going to compel your big fat mouth to make this a little more of a challenge.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. That kind of thing.
Because that complicates the whole situation.
Yeah.
And not necessarily the role, though. It doesn't always have to have a mechanical, although that could, because that could make the difficulty higher for getting them to listen to you.
Could.
Because narratively, you've just made it difficult, so...
Yep. Yeah, or maybe you're doing maybe you're translating a text and I compel your big fat mouth, right? So that somebody overhears you trying to work out you're working out the translation, but the bad guy who's eavesdropping is totally hearing everything.
Yep. See, that to me, that's a better compel in a lot of ways than the previous one. And the reason is the previous one makes the current situation harder.
Yes.
The latter one complicates life later.
Exactly. That's what I was trying to go for, right? Because again, we're not into stymieing. We're not into stymieing those kind of things. But I will say that I will say that I think you're allowed to do it that way, but I think the better one is to do tangentially.
So for the negotiation one, you
Yep.
do that with your big fat mouth, and it doesn't increase the difficulty, but it ups the things that are required to dish out
Sure.
in the back end. Like, well, you could have got it for X, now you're going to have to get it for X and Y.
Yeah. The reason I actually don't like that one for a similar reason that you don't is that if you raise the difficulty or raise the reach, they're just going to spend the fate point they got
Yeah, exactly.
to buy it back, which means you just kind of negated their fate point.
Which means you should just, whatever it is you should do, not the fate point, is the thing that,
Loop it around to something,
Yeah.
loop it around to something else more interesting than that.
like I said, which is why I went with you require more leverage,
Yeah.
which is not going to come up in a roll.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right, so tell me about Cipher System.
Yeah. Cipher System has the GM intrusion. The GM intrusion is a transactional complication. The GM gets to inject something into the game by way of complication, and player gets an experience point and gets to give another one out, right? Isn't that is it everyone gets an experience point? I mean, Gator's in here.
It depends on.
Okay, it depends on who it complicates it for, right? So, and then somebody else gets an experience point, right? The player can hand it off. Yeah, 2 XP.
Yeah, it's 2 XP. I knew that part.
Yeah.
But
So
there's a group intrusion and then there's a player intrusion.
Yeah.
right.
And
So
then there's I roll a 1 and I get intruded upon and I don't get anything.
yeah. So the GM can just GM can intrude, right? And that's the kind of transaction that doesn't actually require consent, because the GM can just do it.
I think you can buy it off with an experience point. Somebody can correct me on that, but I'm pretty sure just
Okay.
like in Fate, where
Like
you can
Fate,
buy
you
it
can
off.
buy
with
it
a
off.
compel.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you can buy it off.
We
with
didn't
an
actually
experience
talk about that in the breakdown, right? So there is actually a way to sometimes to turn off the
point.
transaction.
Yeah, Gator just helped me out. Yeah, you can buy it off.
Yeah.
I did like that game a lot. I still like that game a lot. Cypher System.
No, Cypher's good. Solid game. Tell me.
Forged in the Dark.
I mean, this is what started this whole conversation.
What, you want to talk about Devil's Bargain?
Devil's Bargain.
It's a stupid mechanic. No, I'm just kidding. It's perfectly fine.
Just don't look it in the eye.
So the GM player or any other player offers a complication from a suggested list or makes a thing up. Like you can make a thing up.
It's not locked in,
Yeah.
but they do give you a list of
There's
suggestions.
a list of suggestions.
And they're pretty broad.
Well, they're more like moves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you accept it, then that player gets a bonus die on their next roll. On the roll that is coming up.
Right.
By the way, that Devil's Bargain thing does not have to be related to the roll.
No, in fact, it's almost better if it isn't, because you're only getting a die.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Like, a die isn't actually worth making the actual roll harder
Which is
than
why
it
that
is.
mechanic's stupid.
Right. Which is why it's so my concern with the Devil's Bargain is I don't know if that mechanic is balanced correctly. Like, I don't know if the complication that the GM creates is worth the die that you get.
It can be at times. It depends on what the complication is, right? But there's to me, that limits the kind of complication that people are willing to take.
Right. And I also think that the Devil's Bargain, and I'm trying to do this math in my head, but I think it's been worked out somewhere. There's at a certain number of dice, there's a value in taking the Devil's Bargain, and at a certain number of dice, there's no value in taking it. Like in a die pool, the chance of getting a 6, right, goes up as the die pool gets larger. So getting an extra die when you're rocking like 4 or 5 dice in trying to get a 6, to try to get that 6, is less than if you have like 1 dot in something and you take the Devil's Bargain to go from 1 dice to 2 dice or 2 dice to 3 dice.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like
Or from no dice to 1 die. I think
Yeah.
that might actually be the
no
best
die to 1
place.
die is probably one of the
It's probably
That's
the
the
best
best
place
one.
to take a Devil's Bargain.
yes. And that's the thing, right? So there's a place where the Devil's Bargain is worth it, and then there's a place where it's not. But I find that people don't like the Devil's Bargain. Like the Devil's Bargain is not as popular as the Compel. People love Compels. People do not love Devil's Bargains.
No, because fate points are way more powerful than a die.
Yeah, than a die, right? Like having a fate point,
Man,
like I can do some shit with a fate point.
If you told me that I could keep my die and put it in a pool for myself for later,
Well, that's
I'd be
interesting.
more interested in taking it.
When we talk about hacks and designs, like
Oh, yeah.
we can talk about what to do with.
I mean, if you're doing that, you're essentially you're almost adding in a gambit.
Well, yeah, that's exactly what it is. You're basically except it's for yourself instead of for the
Yeah.
group.
Right, and remember, Blades doesn't have gambits, right? Gambits was an add-on. Gambits was an add-on for Scum and Villainy, which I think is recognized. Like it's, you could have done away with the Devil's Bargain with the presence of gambits.
So that's a comment that just came up. And dice in Blades and the Forged in the Dark games tend to be swingy, so 1 die isn't really going to help you succeed all that much. I actually don't think that's true mathematically. I think it just depends on where you take it and apply it.
Yeah, there's, you know what it is? It's not in Blades in the Dark. In the in Things from the Flood, Tales from the Loop.
Yeah.
There is a chart that shows you the percent chance of a success, because in that game is 6 is a success. The percent chance of success based on your die pool, right? So there is, like, when you look at the percent jumps, right, in the lower dice, that percent jump is big, but above a certain number,
It doesn't matter at all.
it doesn't matter.
And,
right?
and in the Dark games, 4, 5, and 6 are successes.
Yeah.
Like they're good. They're better. So
Ugh.
every die is like getting
4 and 5 is okay-ish.
Yeah, I mean, well,
Take stress.
No, look, man. In Scum and Villainy, it's better. Like in Blades in the Dark, it's probably pretty awful, regardless.
A little more. It's
It
like a
depends
little more
on
brutal.
it depends on where you set your dials for the game that you're playing.
It also depends on what you set your complications at, because I don't think all complications are equal either. Like taking an injury is way worse than almost everything else in that game.
Yeah, it is because taking a 1 is fine. Taking a 2
Yeah,
or a 3 is bad.
Right. Yeah. The first injury's for free. After that, like you are like.
But like math wise, if you look at the percentages for coin flips, like every time you had a coin flip to get like a heads, like
yeah.
there's a certain amount of coins like you're always gonna get a head.
Yeah.
The percentages there's places where the percentages are lower. It's like a bell curve,
Yep.
man. Like
There's a curve to it.
Yeah.
It's the nature of dice bowl, right? Like as the number of dice go up, the percentage, unless you're Bob, the percentage of getting a 6.
Yes.
Bob is what you call it. Bob's the only person I know who can roll like 8d6 and not get a 6.
Yeah, but that's
And it's
rolling for
weird,
6s,
too.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's a way different kind of game.
But see, the weird dichotomy is that when I play Tales from the Loop or Things from the Flood, and I roll a bunch of dice, 6s avoid me like the plague. But I roll the very same thing in Forbidden Lands. I got a bunch of 6s, and I'm looking for 6s, and I get some 6s. It's just this weird thing.
You actually can probably speak to this more than pretty much anybody else sitting at this table, because I think you've played more of both of those type of games than any of us.
That is
Because he's
probably
played
true,
all
yeah.
of them.
Because he's played all of them.
Yeah. He played Blades, he played Scum and Villainy, he's played Tales, Things, and Forbidden Lands.
Yep. So you have really good experience with both of those games.
Yeah.
Styles of games, those game systems, I should say.
Yeah, and it's definitely Blades in the Dark. The original is way less forgiving.
Well, that game is. I mean, we are playing our Scum and Villainy game on heroic mode. Like,
Yes, that is true.
If you we're doing the thing where if you take there's an optional rule where if you take the stress thing where you resist the thing, and if it would be an injury, it goes from a 3 to a 1 or from a 2 to nothing. Because that's an optional rule in the book for heroic play.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
Yeah, it means injuries don't pop up as much.
Yeah, there was nothing heroic about my Blades game.
Gator's like, we're still getting all bloodied up on heroic mode. I mean, if Gator would, not like take every possible chance to get himself killed.
Yeah,
That's just the way Gator plays, and that's fine.
Yeah,
We
Forge in the
totally
Dark
get it.
is not powered by the
I
apocalypse.
love it. It's so much fun. But I try really hard not to kill them because they ask for it. Anyways, we should probably talk about the play experience that this kind of mechanic presents.
Yeah, so at the story level, right, games that utilize this mechanic are looking to create narratives that have higher levels of tension.
I mean, I also believe they're looking to create a play experience that helps emulate that try-fail cycle in storytelling.
Sure, absolutely.
I mean, complications aren't failures, but they create more problems for characters to deal with. And, some of the best complications come from moments in which the characters have succeeded at something only to find out that their actions, while they were good and they succeeded in the moment, had unintended consequences.
Oh, I love unintended consequences.
Yeah, like, we did the thing, but oh.
But you released that program into the wild.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that, all of those things, right, lead to ratcheting up the tension of a game. And I mean tension in the good form, not in the stressful form, but in the, oh my God, like, oh boy, look what's happened kind of way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So by incentivizing complications, players are encouraged to take them, thus making the narrative more complicated, thus raising the tension of the game. It allows for competent characters to still have problems to fix.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even if their roles are trending towards success, because this is a thing I know from Hydro Hackers and a couple of other PBTA games. If you get on a roll and start rolling 10 pluses, it's not actually as interesting.
No, but it's pretty cool at least for a little while.
For a little while, it's fun, but 7 to 9s are the shit, man.
They
like
are.
I love the 7 to 9 is my favorite
That's
roll,
the
right?
sweet spot.
Because it's like, cool, I did the thing I wanted to do, and
The story just got more interesting.
right.
Yeah.
So
So let's talk about the player level, like where the stuff works
Yeah.
at the player level. So these mechanics, they can often create a decision point for the player to make. You can accept a bonus for the price of a complication, and sometimes those can't be bought off. So they just provide a way for the game master to drop a plot point that will make the characters' lives harder, while giving the players a resource to help deal with that plot point.
I think that's actually really good, right? Like, there are games where, again, PBTA games, if players start rolling 10s, unless the players pause for the GM to take a move, they can stay on a roll for a while. Like,
They can.
You wind up with like not a lot of stuff to do until like somebody pauses and you're like, cool, I'm gonna take a move now. But by that point, they could have done quite a bit.
They could have.
Yeah.
Usually that doesn't always happen.
No, I've had some weird cases where, I mean, don't get me wrong, I've had it happen during con games, and then players are like, "Yeah, we're on a roll," and I'm like, "Well, you get on with your bad selves." Like,
So there's also games where they can be bought off, and that's really nice for players who love drama and tension, as these complications can be a great temptation.
yeah. Again, it's decisions, right? It's decision stuff, and decision stuff for players is always exciting, right? Like, it gets the adrenaline up.
If
really
the
does.
answers are always obvious, it loses its charm.
Yeah,
Like,
well,
I need what's going to happen? What should we do? Oh no,
Unintended consequence of successful action is just one of the best of those things. It's like, you totally did that thing, and off camera, like,
Didn't realize that this thing was going on too.
you see off camera, unbeknownst to you, you see stress fractures forming in the hull.
Yes.
Yeah, it's even better if like your actions before that have led into that.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Oh
yeah.
look, we were throwing some fireballs and some force magic around earlier.
Yeah.
And then like, yeah, we won. And then hey, here, have this chip.
Hey, look,
because-
there's a skeleton with an arrow stuck in its chest, and tweet. Oh no, it fell down the well and made a lot of clanking and clattering. Oh, drums in the deep.
there you go.
We're screwed.
Yeah, exactly.
So there you go. That's a transactional complication, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to jump over to the chat room, see what they have to say. But first, one of us at random is going to tell you about another show on the Misdirected Mark Network. Oh, right. Okay. Ready?
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. I broke my scissors on Bob's Rock, apparently.
I went without the count.
We should go again. Here we go.
Okay.
Because we all threw rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Snip, snip.
You get to go. Go ahead.
On Bonus Experience, Ray and Monica are two old friends exploring gameplay and design through the lens of diversity while also sharing some of the dumbest humor gaming has to offer.
Is it?
Is it really? I think it's pretty funny.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
I think that's what they intended when they wrote Dumbest. They wrote this. We didn't write this.
We didn't
just
write
read
this
it,
comment,
right?
Yeah.
They're great.
They're two queer women speaking with authority, so die mad about it.
Yeah, die mad about it.
Awesome. Cool.
I mean, just die.
We
mad
just
about
read
it.
whatever's on the teleprompter.
In NPR voice. Die mad about it.
Like Ron Burgundy here.
Ron Burgundy.
What's chat room up to?
Scotch.
I mean,
Scotch.
yeah, what are they up to? I mean, we've been talking.
Oh, they're
about-
laughing and having a good time
They
with
were,
us.
they were talking about snowballing before.
Whoa.
Well-
Not in the sexual way. I'm not going to...
Because it needed that qualifier.
Well, I mean, it kind of does here.
It does on this show.
I know, right?
That's fair.
Well played, Rob. Yes, we left.
I mean,
out
look, if you're
Lizard and
into it, you're
Spock.
into it. It's
yeah,
fine.
it's fine. No big deal.
We
there.
make no judgment here.
No judgments.
This is a judgment-free zone. You're in the trust tree. Safe space.
Although they wonder why we insist on a three-way rock, paper, scissors. Because I can't think of a better way to do rock, paper, scissors.
Because
other
we
than a
literally
three-way.
didn't plan it. I just wrote the word at random in the middle of the show notes. But you know what we'll do next week? We'll do Schwazi.
I mean,
I got the app on my
We all
phone.
got it on our
yeah,
phone
yeah.
and
We'll
it
just
works.
we'll just quick do it.
you want a Schwazi for it?
Yeah, we'll Schwazi for it.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
Schwazi.
there'll be a bit of a pause, but we'll totally
I
do
can't believe there's not like an urban dictionary term for Schwazi yet.
Well, give it time.
I know. I'm like, so chat
it. So
room.
we all put our never mind.
Chat room. Why don't you all try to figure out what would be the urban dictionary version of Schwazi?
Oh boy.
That is your
nope.
job for the rest of the show.
Nope.
Can't
I've
wait
already
to
got
see that.
I've already got one.
Wait, we'll talk about it at the end.
Nope, we
We're
will
in
not.
the after show. In the after show.
Not sure I'm telling this one.
Gator, you would think that there would be dice here, but we're set up for the cast.
Oh, man.
Not gaming.
Nope.
So
There-
we are not going to
there's
Rochambeau
people
for
saying
it.
hard pass, and I'm at work, Chris.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, is there anything else in the chat room, Bob?
We're good. We're
We're good.
So welcome
we're
back.
good.
Welcome back.
We are going to now continue our discussion with transactional complications with a few questions. So, Phil, would you ask the first question, please?
Yeah, how as GMs and players can we best leverage transactional complications in our games?
I think that when the complication is linked to elements the characters find important and also the players find interesting, which technically those two things should be linked.
Yeah.
I think those are the best kind of complications. So if you can find the important and interesting thing that go together, then you're good to go.
Yeah.
That's mine.
I think as a player, don't be afraid to offer up.
Yes, thank you.
You know,
Yeah.
the
Thank you for saying that.
self-compel.
Uh-huh.
You know, Just like, hey, I got a great idea. What if you screw me hard? You know, that's go for
And
it.
we are just way in the gutter in this episode.
It depends where you are.
No, I think it's important, right? Because there are. So one of the things
Or
I've
the bedroom.
one
or
of the things
couch,
I've
or the kitchen table.
easy, buddy. Pretty much anywhere.
Yeah.
Just be careful in the shower. Like a lot of accidents occur in the house.
Yeah,
in the home.
some amount of traction is required.
Yeah. Let me get one of those Rubbermaid pads on the bottom. Anyway, okay. So I wanted to bring up this thing, and so I think Bob segued into it, which it also kind of segues into my own answer to this question, which is that in the times where I've taught Fate to players who've only played D&D, there is a lot of anxiety about the compel because there's this somewhat adversarial nature and not so much a collaborative nature to, I don't even want to say that's true for D&D. I think there's a perception that the GM is more adversarial because I don't think that's actually true in modern D&D, but people remember it that way. So they're hesitant to take a complication from the GM because it looks like bait for them getting smacked down. And so the thing I've always had to tell people when I'm teaching Fate is like, look, this compel isn't going to stymie the thing you're doing. It's just going to make the thing you're doing either trickier or there's something else you're going to have to deal with that's going on in that space. Like, I'm not doing this to shut you down.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's a bad way to use this, is to shut down successes or to stymie what players are trying to do.
Because it's not their intended.
Well, right. It violates this. So most games that, I would say most, I think nearly every game that has this mechanic has a explanation for like how not to use this thing as a weapon.
Complications are not stymies.
Correct.
Yes.
But you know, you can. But here's a dick move for a complication. You're in the middle of a negotiation. The GM takes the complication, and the complication is somebody comes and pulls the king out of the room. Right? Like the stymie just like the action is ended. Right? There are ways to make that not like that. But if you are heavy-handed with it, and we'll talk about that in a second about problems. But I guess what I'm saying is, from a GM point of view, build trust with your players that the complication is there to make this more interesting, not to make you guys suck.
So,
like,
if I'm just going to build on top of that, if I'm going to complicate a situation, my goal is to drive the story and the action forward more with my complication.
yeah,
Yes.
If my goal has to be that. If my complication doesn't provide a clear other avenue of action or choice, then I shouldn't complicate the situation.
Correct.
If the complication creates failure,
that's technically a stymie.
If the complication stymies the situation, don't do it. But instead of just saying that, like we should say what you're looking to do.
Your goal is to make this more interesting.
And by interesting, we mean create another avenue for action.
Yes.
Or to up the stakes of the situation.
Exactly. Right. Now, if we wanted to do that thing where the complication is somebody's going to pull the king out of the room, instead of them pulling the king out of the room, the door opens, the page shows up at the door, and then I could say something like, it looks like he wants to deliver the king a message, and somebody else in the room might be like, oh, no.
Yeah.
I will head the page off.
Rather than the king gets pulled out of the room, someone is attempting to get the king's attention or to pull him out, and you have the opportunity to like, okay, now we have to maneuver.
Right. In essence, that's the soft move.
That is the soft move.
Right. The soft move is like, look, I'm putting this thing in front of you, and I'm telling you what's going to happen if you don't do anything, but I'm giving you the space to go do something about it.
That's raising the stakes of the tension.
Yeah, and I love that. Right? That's a kind of complication I love, because then I love to see the players jump through the hoops to like, one of them is like vigorously negotiating with the king, and somebody else is like peeled off and is coming around the corner and has decided like, well, I'm going to seduce the page. Right? Like, I got nothing left in the tank. Like, you know, all of a sudden I unbutton my tunic and show my chest to the page and like put on like my hardcore, press or whatever. Like,
You've finally gotten your shirt off.
yeah, see, there you go. But like that, like those things make for fun stories, right?
It only took 50 minutes and 11 seconds.
There you go. I didn't say I wasn't going to do it. I just, you can't give it up early on. You gotta let them. You gotta draw them into the episode. Anyway, So yeah, I think that from a GM's perspective, one of the things you really need to do to make this work is to make sure that players completely understand when you offer a compel, when like if you're going to use this mechanic, and I want you to use this mechanic because it's part of the game. Here's what it means so that you can use it without fear.
Yeah, and in exactly the way that we kind of described, exactly the way that we described it too.
Yeah.
Like you can tell your players, like, I'm going to do this to either give you additional options for choice and action, or to raise the stakes of a situation.
Yeah.
Never to stymie you.
Correct.
Or if it looks like it might end up being that way, you will always have you always have a chance to deal with it before it actually stymies you.
Yeah, and GMs, if you are running a con game and you are running for people who haven't played before, this is like one of those things that you want to make sure, as you're explaining the game to people, you want to kind of hit like this point so that people feel comfortable taking it. Yeah. So I think that is probably my best advice: is build that trust.
There you go.
All right. So, are there any problems that transactional complications can cause in a game, Phil?
So I think if you this mechanic has a certain degree of latency attached to it. There's a bit of negotiation.
Sure.
There's a bit of cognitive load for the GM if they're not expecting it to have to come up with a consequence. Depending on what situation it is, depending on where the GM is energy-wise, sometimes that complication is very quick. Sometimes that complication is a little slower coming. So if you use this thing a lot in a row, like if every time you roll the dice in Blades in the Dark, you want a Devil's Bargain, right? And you don't have one to offer, like things will slow down because you're just going to be like, okay, cool, I'm building my dice pool, blah, blah, blah. Offer me a Devil's Bargain. And then like the next turn, offer me another Devil's Bargain. It's like,
And on the bright side, at least with the Devil's Bargain, it's like, I don't have one to offer you. Let us move on.
yeah, right.
That's a valid.
Exactly. So yeah, I like if you get like 80s spammy, like button spammy on this thing, you're just generating a lot of latency in the game. So yeah, if there's a way to bow out, like from the GM side, to be like, nah, I got nothing.
Well,
You're good.
It's good that they have that mechanism in the game for
Yeah, like nah, you're fine. So yeah, that's a that I think is a problem that could definitely come up. What about you?
Well, when they're forced, when compels are forced, or when transactional complications are forced, it can feel pretty arbitrary. I think that's a problem. You know, we talked all about that, 5 minutes ago.
Oh, yeah.
You don't want it to feel that way. It can also be punishing if there's some kind of buy-off mechanism, and not only are you taking a resource away from the players, but they're not getting the thing.
That's stress. Like, I'm going to do this thing because I'm going to create a complication that now I'm going to be like, fuck, I don't want that complication. I'm buying it off. I don't know. Can you buy off a complication from a Devil's Bargain, or do you have to let it go through? Or do we not know the rules well enough?
No. If you take a Devil's Bargain, you have to take the complication.
Yes.
Okay, so you cannot stress your way out
Correct.
of it. Okay.
Yep.
So that's good. Like, that's good.
It also depends on what the I mean, you've essentially agreed to taking that complication.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, I'm pretty sure it states in the rules. It's been a while since I read the rule book, but I think this actually came up once.
Yeah.
And you can't. You're not allowed to.
Good, because that would be a
Because getting the boon and then not getting the bane.
well, getting the boon and then burning something as valuable as stress is also probably not worth it.
Probably not.
Right? It's probably not a good move.
I mean, you might as well it's just another way to get another die, which you can just burn 2 stress to get another die anyway. I think,
Correct.
By pushing yourself.
Yes.
Also, if you push yourself, you can't take a Devil's Bargain, so what's the point?
right, because you can always do it, because you can't spam that up.
Correct.
Yeah. Which is also smart.
Anyways,
Yeah.
that was just technical talk about a role-playing game. Well, yeah,
That is
this is the Misdirected Mark podcast.
Oh, we're
I
back,
suppose,
baby.
'cause
We're back. Yeah, so I do think you're right. Like, sometimes they are arbitrary, right? They can you can be like, oh.
They can feel arbitrary.
Yeah.
They're spice a lot of time.
Yeah, when done properly, they're a fantastic whoa kind of thing. But if it falls flat or whatever, like, you'll know it.
And while they are pretty core to the Fate experience, they're not the only thing about the Fate experience that is important.
Yeah.
It is one aspect of injecting fate. Well, to be clear, they're the way you get fate points. But Create Advantage will create invokes,
Yes.
which can be used like
Fate
fate points,
points.
but only on the thing that
Yes.
it invoked. But still, it achieves that effect. So you don't have to spam up the compels. Like, you don't have to ramp up doing a whole bunch of compels because the players have an active method of, cool, I'm going to make an advantage here. So there's a rhythm, right? Sometimes do a compel, sometimes just create advantages, right? The important part is that those points, whether they're invokes or fate points, are getting on the table because that's where the magic shit happens.
It's funny because I'm listening to the Dresden Files all the way through again.
Yeah.
I do that every year or so.
The Dresden Files book?
Yeah, the actual book series.
Okay, yes.
But the role-playing game was designed to be the book series.
Yeah.
So when I'm listening to the book series, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember how all these mechanics got designed because I can hear them all in the stories.
Right.
Like the game is modeled after the idea, which is you're going to get beat on for about a round or two, or and story-wise, you're going to get beat on early with all the things that you don't know what's going on, or things are coming out of the woodwork at you. But then you're going to have a stack of points that you can utilize later.
Then you're gonna take over.
That is actually the design of how Fate is supposed to work.
Yeah,
at least for that game.
Yeah, I mean, the best Fate combats are you spend the first couple rounds skirting the edges and avoiding things while you're building up some advantages, and then somebody's
look
like,
at me being all heroic and shit. Yeah,
right, getting smacked around, picking up those, doing those things, and then finally somebody's like, cool, there's a mess of points on the table, it's go time. Yeah,
and if it's a monster hunting or Dresden Files style game, then in the middle of the story and the beginning of the story, you're using that stack of points to get away from the thing because you actually don't know how to hurt it.
Right.
At the end of the story, you're using those points to beat the thing down.
Yep. Absolutely.
Rock and roll.
All right. Let's move on to the next, or our last. Is there a last question?
Yeah,
too?
there's always a last question, which is, are there any designs around this mechanic that you'd like to try out?
I like the one I got for the one roll engine. The order number engine. Not one roll engine.
Yes.
Order number engine. That's a different game. The GM can't actually complicate a situation without the dice allowing them to, by either paying a die into the group pool in order to make it happen, or by the players rolling the dice.
Yeah. I mean, Ditch Lilies is modeled after that as well, right? Like, if you're gonna complicate something up, you gotta give the players a die for it.
I mean, that means like even introducing like bad guy encounters or bad person encounters, or any kind of like wall or block or whatever that the players have to deal with, any kind of encounter. Like you have to put a die in the pool.
Yep.
Things are getting stale. Ninjas kick in the door. Here's the die.
Not even that. Like you're making your way through the dungeon and you go into the room and there's like this pretty bad trap in there. Like you have to put a die in the pool. So the design of adventures will actually have you putting dice in the pool. Yeah,
for Ditch Lilies, anytime you want to initiate a scene, anytime the GM wants to initiate a scene with conflict, they have to buy that. So they have to, from their trouble pool, the GM has to pay a die in and be like, cool, I did this to the players. They, their car breaks down in town. And then I bought a conflict scene where the deputy sheriff rolls up and is like, hey, is that your van that's broken down, at Jeb's, auto place? And they're like, yeah. And he's like, that registration's like 3 years old. I'm not giving you a ticket because no one's driving the car, but I'm telling you, if it leaves the lot,
I'm ticketing it.
I'm giving you a ticket, right? So I pay a die in to now create a whole complication in the game, which is go get your car because you have no money to begin with. Go get your car registered. So yeah, I do like that actually. The one I was thinking of when you mentioned it earlier is the complication for complication. Like, I will take your complication, and this might be a good way to handle inter-party conflict. Like, look, inter-party conflict, something's going to happen. Nobody's going to directly 100% benefit. So, we both get a complication out of this.
So I'll just give you both a couple points.
Yeah, but whatever the mechanic is between the players, I'm going to try to take this thing or whatever. It's like, cool, one of you is going to get it in both of, you can have it. Like, you can steal that thing from me, but, I'm going to find this thing out.
Oh, you're just trading complications.
Yeah,
you're trading narrative resources.
Yeah, exactly. Like for inter-party conflict, instead of, throwing down dice and being like, well, make a sneak roll against me, you'll never make it. You could just be like, oh, you want to, like you're going to take that thing from me? You can take that thing from me, but like
yeah, you're essentially trading narrative position,
yeah.
which is cool.
Like,
I'm
maybe an
into it.
interesting. So the reason I bring this up is,
I mean, me saying it that way is not saying it's a bad or a good or whatever. It's just me. I'm actually defining what you're talking about.
yeah, exactly. No, Eric Simon did this in one of the Ditch Lilies play tests at Metatopia, which was there was an argument among the Ditch Lilies, and Ashley wasn't going to play in the gig, and it occurred, like Senda and I both noticed it. We're like, we have no real mechanics for PvP. And I don't think we want any hard mechanics for PvP. I think it would be better if it was just more narrative, like stress and narration. Like you can have that, but it's going to cost you a stress point, or whatever. So I don't know. Like there needs to, like, I have a big note in my playtest notes from Ditch Lilies that's like, there needs to be some sort of interband conflict mechanism, and it doesn't have to be the one dice rolling, because it can be faster than that.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a lot like that petitioner grantor thing without points, but using stress.
Yes, something like that, where it's just like stress or complication. Like you can do this, but like I find out about it.
And at that point in time, maybe it's not even up to the game master. It's like it's the players.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like the players,
absolutely.
like the players sort it out. Like how does this argument play out?
And like the mechanics are something like I'm petitioning. Well, what is the person that you're like? Either that there's the trade, right? But you said there's like stress or whatnot. Like
Stress. So stress is a currency that like stress is a currency in the game.
what does it do for you?
It's not good. So when
So it's a negative.
it's a negative one.
It's not
Right?
even.
So when you take,
it's not even a currency. It's more of a.
right, but it's like if you want this so bad, it'll cost you a stress. And I don't know what it means. Like maybe one player gets rid of stress, one player takes stress. I don't know.
That's the thing. Like
Yeah.
if
We're designing on the fly right now.
if you and me are two players and you say I would like I want to do this thing, and I'm like, what do
I don't want you to do
well,
it.
I'm like, what do I get out of it?
Yeah. Like, what do I get if you're gonna dick me over?
What's
Yeah.
in it for me?
Yeah, like
That's the thing you got to figure out.
exactly. I don't know yet. Could be. I mean, so reducing stress could be one of those ways, because there's only one other avenue for. There's two avenues for reducing stress. So if one of them is to allow something to happen to you, I don't know, but it sounds counterintuitive, because it sounds like if something happens to you, you would
should
take
be
more
more
stress.
stressed, yeah.
I don't know yet. I don't have a good. Anyway, it's a thing we'll work on.
Yeah.
But I like the idea of players using it as a tool to speed up. I don't want for something like Ditch Lilies, where it's dramatic, and ultimately you're all going to be friends anyway at the end of the thing. I just like, I would like it to be something fast.
Yeah.
Like I trade you this thing for this thing, and we make this thing happen in the story. Cool, go. Instead of like, okay, I got one die for being me, right? I got another die for like, I'm gonna roll off, you
Yeah.
roll off, we're gonna trade, like we're gonna count successes, that kind of thing. Like that could totally work, but maybe there's a faster way that happens just among the band members.
Yeah, it's something to
Faster,
think about.
more
something
organic.
something to work at. Too.
Yeah, exactly.
I like the idea.
I like the idea of trading two narrative things, just as long as.
Yeah, what are the narrative things?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's that's part of figuring out what to do with it.
Did you mention one, Bob?
Not yet.
I did
We're going
not.
down the line.
I've been trying to think of something, and I'm drawing a blank.
It's okay.
So,
you don't have
yeah.
to. Yeah, okay. Well, that's it, man. That's transactional complications and a little design and a lot of goofiness.
There was a lot of goofiness.
Shirts and skins.
Aww.
Well, we hope you enjoyed that.
Yeah.
And let's go check in with the chat room. What's up with the chat room?
Yeah, they. I think they're all looking for Schwazi stuff
No.
because it got real quiet.
No. Don't go down
It
that.
got real quiet.
Don't go down that way.
All right, let's see who's the Schwazi tonight.
No. I've no. Shh. Have one. It's bad.
Well, when you have a bunch of doms in a room,
Just
how do
say.
you figure out what the order is? Anyways, nothing in the chat room.
So about that show,
We good?
we're good.
About that after show.
Schwazi finger chooser. Oh God.
That's
bad. Anyways, we have another announcement.
We do.
We do. We're chock full of announcements tonight. We had to put one at the end of the show.
Yeah, we didn't want to stock up the beginning.
Do
too
this one.
much.
This one's got a lot of you involved.
It does have a bit of me involved. So, As you all know, The Streets of Avalon is out there in the world. People can purchase that book in soft and hardcover or PDF. But now stuff from the stretch goals are starting to come out on drive-through, so you can pick them up. So the first release is Iron Shoes, which is an investigative and monster hunting adventure for 5th edition D&D set in the streets of Avalon.
It's got a kick-ass cover picture.
It is about a red cap, and if you want to see it, you can go check it out on drive-through. The red cap cover. It's written by Brett B. of Gaming and BS, and it's only $2. So, I mean, if you were a Kickstarter backer, you already have it. But
Yeah,
if
let's be 100% clear. If you are a Kickstarter backer, do not go buy this,
Yeah,
because this is in the Master Archivist collection.
No, they don't have that yet?
They have the PDF of it.
Yeah, they have the
But the
PDF of
POD isn't out. But I'm just warning people.
I mean,
don't-
these are only in PDF anyway.
Yeah. Don't
So-
go out and buy this if you have already, if you were a Kickstarter backer. This is for non-Kickstarter backers.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to give us more money,
No, there are other ways.
Don't give it to us through drive-through.
Yeah, there's
I mean,
other ways to give us
there's
money.
other
Yeah,
ways
you
to give
can
us money.
PayPal. You can PayPal us. Rob,
Sure,
Rob can just give you the PayPal address in the
Yeah.
chat
Right.
room, and it's fine.
Tip jar, whatever.
Tip jar.
Yeah.
We'll get a Ko-Fi account.
I believe it's coffee.
I know it's coffee, but I like to call it Ko-Fi.
Yeah, that would be-
COFI.
Anyway, it is a thing, and actually you put it up, and I got a whole bunch of sale notifications like right away.
Oh, did you?
I did. Like I got like 5. I got like 6 of them yesterday. I was like, well, guess it's live.
I did send out a mass email
Yes.
Oh, did you?
using the drive-through emailing system.
All right.
That's a good point, Rob. You can always snail mail us unmarked bills in small denominations.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you do, we'll even do the thing where we staple them to like at least the first $1. We'll like. You ever seen that in businesses? Where
Oh,
they-
will you put it up on the
Yeah,
wall?
Yeah,
put it up on
we'll
the-
put it on
We'll
the
frame it
misdirected
and put
mark
it on the-
wooden plaque. That
Yeah,
we
yeah, we'll
got.
totally do that.
Oh man, if anybody mails us a bill, that'd be great. A couple of bills, that'd be hilarious.
I used to be a cashier. When I was a cashier years ago, one of the fun things was like the weird ass money that
Yeah.
you would get paid in from time to time. Like every now and then somebody show up with a $2 bill, and you're just like, where the hell did this thing come
Yeah.
from? One time, one guy paid me $22 in $2 bills, and I'm like, who has 11 $2 bills?
That's an
This
odd
guy.
number.
You want to push that button? Push that. I dare you. Don't stop.
You dared me.
My Schwazine, we'll
That's Schwazi for it,
we'll
yeah.
all put fingers on the
My
the
favorite one I've
soundboard.
seen so far is to
Spam
see
the
who goes
button.
first in the climax order.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Anyway.
man, we are explicit.
You have been warned.
So if we were in school, this would be the essay portion of the show where what did we do on our November vacation? So let's try to keep this into like bullet point stuffs. Like just, like high level. What did we do?
I mean, we can, but we have time.
Yeah, well, we got a
We
little.
got like 19 minutes.
Yeah, okay. Well,
Mine's not going to chew up much time.
Go ahead.
I did not do enough during my vacation. I had a little bit of time off of work. I actually covered the Black Friday and Small Business Saturday. Well, technically Saturday and Sunday. I covered the overnights so that the guy who was supposed to cover them could have some time off around the holiday to spend with his family. So I covered those and then took Monday off. And excuse me, sorry. The Minecraft thing. So we've been playing a ton of Minecraft. I've been watching football and hockey. I've been spending a lot of time watching TV stuff, keeping up with shows. Mandalorian, so good. So good.
Mandalorian's good. Digging Mandalorian. No spoilers on the Mandalorian.
Yes, no
though.
spoiler. Misdirected Mark. Word scramble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna try to do this without screwing it up too bad because I didn't
Do
write
it.
any copy for this.
We-
And you
we-
could help me too.
Right, we're flying here without a net.
All right, we are Misdirected Mark Productions. Senda and Rob are looking for people to pitch podcasts to us as people who are gender fluid and non-binary.
Yes.
And we are looking for shows either hosted by folks like that or shows that are about topics surrounding that and gaming. Like
Yeah.
that either way. They don't
However
have to be-
however you verb gaming.
Yeah, however you verb gaming.
Yes.
Yeah. That would be we really we've been on this for a little while now, a couple of weeks.
Yep. So
We're
hang
looking
on.
this for this?
Hosted by is very
Yes.
Yeah,
important.
Hosted by is
hosted by.
important.
Yes.
Hosted by is the most important thing.
Yeah.
Right.
But they don't have to be about that. They can just be hosted by, and they should be about gaming in some way, shape, or form.
There you go.
Yeah.
And what we mean by looking for pitches is that Misdirected Mark is in the position to help a podcast get off the ground. We won't go into the details. There's a whole
Look,
blog
there-
post about it, but
I've helped a bunch of people launch podcasts, send it, and Rob will be there, and I will help them do that too.
exactly. So we can help you technically.
Mm-hmm.
We can help you with hosting, marketing. We have editing experience, knowledge. Like we know how to make podcasts. We know how to get somebody into a regular podcast routine.
Yep.
Like that's it. Like those are all resources that we have throughout the network that can help make this happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is an active search. Like
Yep.
we are soliciting podcast pitches,
Yep.
and there is. We'll put it in the show notes.
And
There is a link on the.
Once again, the most important thing is you have it has to be hosted by someone who is non-binary or fluid,
Gender fluid. Correct.
Send your pitches to by email to contact@misdirectedmark.com.
Yes.
And if you want more information, you can go look. There's a news post, and there's a bunch of Twitter posts, I think, that direct to that
Yep,
news post.
absolutely.
About this.
Yeah. And worst case, if you have trouble finding him, just hit Misdirected Mark up on Twitter. Just ask, and somebody will drop you
Yeah,
that link.
at misdirected mark.
Absolutely. And which is just really cool that, and I said this last night when we were doing Pandas, the reason that we're in a position to be able to make this kind of pitch, and I say we, the network, is because of our patrons.
Yeah.
Our patron support allows us to be able to help start a podcast like this. So, one, thank you to all of our patrons who actively support the network and make all of this possible, and will hopefully make a new show possible and give space for non-binary and gender fluid discussions and gaming and all of that. So I think that's awesome. Cool. Hey, what did you do on your vacation?
So I caught a Sabres game and a Bills game live.
Oh,
Nice.
cool.
So I was at the arena for the Wild when they lost the Minnesota Wild, which is sad. But then I was also at the Denver game, which they stomped the ever-living love out of the Broncos.
Yeah.
They're on a roll right now. I hope they. We'll see if they win this week.
I got some things to give thanks for, and beating Dallas's ass in the middle of
They-
AT&T Stadium.
They really stomped them. Too.
Yes.
Like the score was 15-26 when all was said and done, but really they scored Dallas scored their first drive and Dallas scored their last drive in garbage
That's
time.
it.
That
Yeah.
was it, and they pounded them.
Yes.
So-
there is nothing more satisfying than looking at my phone in the middle of Thanksgiving dinner and being like, "That's right, like, go Bills."
By the way, also the Philadelphia Eagles got beat by the Miami Dolphins. That must have felt pretty good.
Oh, that's the satisfaction of that is just delightful.
Fitzmagic just took it to the Dolphins.
It's magic. Oof. Anyway, cool. All right, so you saw some Bills game. You saw Bills game. Saw Sabres game. What else you do?
So I joined Jerry Meyer's Savage Eberron game, and we've played a couple of sessions of that so far. It's been a good time.
That's the rule set by sexy voice Christian Serrano. Yeah.
I actually like it a lot. The rules the rule set.
Yeah, Christian. I mean, Christian was on this shit like years ago, right? Like, I mean, this was like a huge passion project of theirs. Like many, like even before I joined the podcast, like I remember Christian talking about all of this.
Also, New Savage World's pretty fun.
Yeah. Is
Yeah.
Jerry warming up to it? Because Jerry wasn't too hot on it in the beginning.
I'm pretty okay with it. I mean, we've gone through those rules a bunch of times. I like how they handle PowerPoints way more now.
Yeah.
So you get PowerPoints back 5 every hour.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, that's way better.
That's nice. So you can actually do shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Dragon Mark rules work really well too. So.
Yeah.
No, it's fun. It's not a bad little game. I like. I don't know what the rule was before, but like, you can take up to 3 actions on your turn. Every extra action you take is a -2.
Yeah.
So you could take up to 3 actions at a -4.
That's not bad.
And if you're like me and you have 2 weapon fighting and ambidextrous, then you can take
Just fire that up. Huh?
attack twice for like no penalty. It's fun. Anyways, I'm playing a person on a map game.
Yeah. I mean, like
Yeah.
old school.
Yeah. By the way, that game actually plays better with like 5 players at the table than it does with 3.
I'm interested to know why.
I don't know.
Is it just that more people can do stuff?
And I'm not talking about the role playing part of it because we were just having a good time.
No, everybody can.
Yeah, but the actual mechanical part of the game with more people, there's like more stuff going on. So in a tactical game, for some
More
reason,
options?
there's just more. Yeah, there's more options. It just felt like there was more things that could interact with each other. It's definitely a teamwork kind of game. So that was fun. I wrote a new game.
Yeah, you did.
Called The Black Corner, which we're going to start play testing on Sunday
Yeah.
using the order number engine,
Yes.
which is my take on the Cthulhu stuff without being Cthulhu. Because I came to like I've been trying to write a game that uses kind of that stuff for a while. Like me and Drew Smith started writing a thing called Void World a long time ago.
You know, it's funny you say that because I was looking for topics and I was digging back through the archives and found a reference in one of the shows to Void World.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is part of that, but I also wanted people that weren't like just like necessarily normal people that were out of their depths. Like these are people, but they're in an organization that knows what's up, and the organization is actually a bunch of good people.
Yeah. So like the laundry, but competent. Or
well,
like
the laundry isn't exactly. They have a lot of things inside of the laundry that aren't necessarily good people.
right, right.
So yeah, I'm digging on the flow and how it feels, and like you don't go crazy, you just get worn out. Like you get soul worn and you just quit. So instead of like you can die, but instead of going mad, you don't go mad in this one. Like there's no actual insanity.
You just become completely disheartened and heartbroken and fuck it.
It's not even that. It's more like you just can't do it anymore. Like not effectively, so you have to you give up because otherwise you're gonna get somebody killed.
I dig it. I dig it.
You've reached your limit. And you can't do it anymore.
And then now it's just a metaphor for corporate life.
Yeah, pretty much. It's actually kind of what it is, except you're actually doing something
soul-crushing
decent.
fucking corporate life.
I've been watching The Mandalorian, and the cool thing about The Mandalorian, aside from Baby Yoda, which doesn't love Baby Yoda, it's adorable. Baby Yoda's adorable. Is my son will watch it with me.
Yeah.
And my son, my 18-year-old son, who is autistic and very much on the far end of the, he's going to have to live with Sony for the rest of his life. He's on that edge of the spectrum. He won't watch the new Star Wars movies with me, and he won't watch Rebels, and he won't watch Resistance. But I'm like, you want to watch Star Wars, buddy? Come watch The Mandalorian. And we sat down and he watched it, and he watched the first 5 minutes, and then he was like, "No, I'm in." And he just sat. He didn't say that, but he was like watching it. And then the first episode ended, and I'm like, "You want to watch the second one?" He's like, "Yeah." So then we watched the second one, and he loves Baby Yoda, but he also loves The Mandalorian.
The Mandalorian's pretty kick-ass.
Mm-hmm. So, and then last weekend, when he was here on Friday, we watched episode 4 together, and he enjoyed that.
It's good. I haven't watched that one yet. I'm like 1 or 2 behind.
And he's super lucky right now, because he's at Disney World, and he's probably already been to Galaxy's Edge.
I'm sure that's a big deal for him.
Probably, yes. Very much so.
He must be a big fan of Disney Plus.
He really loves it.
Yeah, I mean that's like one-stop shopping for him.
I guess he comes home from school. Me and my ex-wife were talking about it. He comes home from school, flips on Disney Plus, and he'll just go through the whole vault.
Yeah, the
whole vault's
he
on
loves
there,
Disney stuff, so it is one-stop shopping. Star Wars and
all the pick a Disney movie and he's into it. So.
Yeah.
I'm actually looking forward to going back and hitting some of the classics.
Yeah, which ones?
Herbie the Love Bug.
Sure, the original.
Yeah.
Herbie.
Is that one on there?
Yeah.
I'll have to go watch it. I love that movie.
Way back in the day, for all you old folks out there, there was a series of movies from Disney that starred Kurt Russell as a character named Dexter Riley. Such wonderful classics as The Computer Wore Tennis Shoes.
Yeah.
Okay? The Strongest Man in the World. These are classics that used to be on the Wide World of Disney on Sunday nights. Sunday evenings, I should say, because they didn't play them late. It was, good stuff.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a movie, but I can't think of it right now. But yeah, those old Disneys. Yeah, Herbie, all the Herbies are on there. Herbie Goes Bananas.
Old Flubber, like the original.
Yeah. Flubber.
I actually like that movie a lot too. Those Bedknobs and Broomsticks.
I'm a little sad.
Escape to Witch Mountain.
Yes, Escape to Witch Mountain. I'm a little sad because one of the things on here is Nat Geo, and I'm like, awesome, I love Nat Geo, and then I'm looking through it, I'm like, wait, I don't see my favorite Nat Geo show on here.
Anne's just mentioned the Black Cauldron, which I haven't ever seen, so I should probably watch that.
Black Hole.
The Black Hole, is that on there?
I hope it's on there.
Oh.
That's a movie that needs a remake. If ever they were going to remake a movie, I think The Black Hole would be a great one to
if
remake.
Bob is saying it needs a remake, that's a big statement.
Look, I guess I don't need anyone to tell me the answer to this, but why is Drugs Inc. not on the Nat Geo?
Because it's on Disney Plus? No, I don't know. I'm just kidding.
I know, that's what I'm saying, right? Drugs Inc. is my favorite Nat Geo show, not on not on here.
What was I going to say? There's a show on an original show on Disney Plus that I haven't watched yet that I need to, that everybody keeps talking about. The Imagineering documentary thing where they talk about how they made the parks and the rides.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's supposed to be fantastic. Like everything, the black holes on there. Everyone that's watched it has said nothing but good things about it.
Oh, on the Imagineering one?
Yeah, they did an episode about they did an episode about the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. They did an episode about just Disney World, or they're doing an episode about Disney World itself, like how these parks got constructed and the rides got constructed. They're doing an episode of the Haunted Mansion. That's
I read this fascinating book on the Disney management style, and like how they manage those parks, which is utterly fascinating. Like the way that they the way that people are empowered to do things, the way that they let employees do all these like extras for guests, so that like, you know, pretty much locking in guests for return, because the biggest thing for Disney is return appearances. Like they need people to want to keep coming back. So there's a lot of latitude given to the people who are interfacing with the guests.
If you're on the front lines, you get a lot of leeway.
Yeah, like, you know, sending somebody a present or wrapping something up and surprising them with it. Like, there's a lot of leeway for
those
that.
little touches.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's
That's
a lot
really
of interesting. We've talked about that before, and there's stuff with the way they lay things out in the park.
Oh,
placement of garbage.
the garbage cans are strategically
Yeah.
placed. Like they did a study on approximately how many steps somebody will take to throw something out before they either will leave it there or drop it on the ground. And so the garbage cans are all placed strategically. Also, every Disney employee, from the person who is taking out the garbage to the president of Disney, picks up garbage. Like, like an executive walking through the park sees something on the ground, will immediately pick it up and throw it out.
Part of their mandate.
That
Yeah,
is
that totally makes
just
sense.
yeah.
That's why their parks are so clean. They are so clean.
They're ruthlessly clean. Yeah. But purposely done.
Yeah.
And you know, that's where the whole tunnel system comes from, because they also don't want you to see all the garbage being carted away. So it all just goes down into the tunnels.
It's clever.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a while since I've been there. I haven't been to Disney.
You can actually take that tour. There's a behind the scenes tour that will take you through the tunnel system and stuff.
And that's where you get killed.
Well, that's where all the great old ones sleep, right?
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, if you're in the happiest,
Happiest
apocalypse
apocalypse on Earth.
yeah,
Shameless plug.
There you go, Chris Gray.
yeah, that's where all the death and stuff is.
That's where the great mouse.
Yeah, the great mouse
Sleep.
sleeps. Yeah, in the laundry.
Dreaming and dead.
That's right.
Oh man, in the laundry. I don't know. I haven't been to Disney in a long time. My family's actually.
I've never actually been.
My family's actually going in March.
I haven't been since I was a kid.
If me and Jen weren't going to be driving across the country at some point. By the way, we're driving across the country. Started planning our trip, so you know.
When's that?
Not until October.
Next year.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, we got time to figure out how to do this without you.
Yeah, you'll have to figure out how to do this without me.
We'll figure something.
If anybody wants us to stop and say hi, we will totally stop and say hi.
There you go.
I know we're driving through Chicago, or at least out that way. So
Nice.
I got one more thing. I am getting psyched for Crisis on Infinite Earths,
Oh, yeah.
CWDC crossover event that's coming up this week, and it's the end of Arrow. Like Arrow finished wrapped filming a couple weeks ago. There's no more episodes of Arrow. That's gonna be. I can't wait. I'm very excited. Like Bob said, he saw a screenshot or a picture of like 3 or 4 people dressed like actors dressed up as Superman on the screen
No,
together.
yeah, that's
It's going to be
interesting.
interesting.
Because you know it's all these different.
Yep.
And it's going to be all of them. Like Black Lightning's going to be in there. Batwoman's going to be in there.
Yep.
Supergirl, Flash, Arrow.
Yeah.
The Legends of Tomorrow. Like
Yep.
it's going to be cool. Looking forward to it. They got the monitor already like all over the place. It's going to be fantastic. And that's me. Go ahead, Phil.
Let's see. So this month, I started this month. I went to Metatopia.
I forgot about Metatopia.
That was with Bob and Senda. We went to Metatopia.
Yep.
Had a good time. Had a good time at Metatopia. Ditch Lily's alpha playtests went really well. Really positive. People dug the system. Like no one had any problem with the one system at all. And I think there were 3 main takeaways, right? The one system totally worked. Took almost no time to teach anyone how to use it. Number 2, the actual doing of the game, like what do you do in this game, like solving problems, people totally dug. Like we kept it simple, and we were like, cool, your van broke down on your way into town, the transmission's busted, it costs transmission money, you have McDonald's money. Like what do you do? Like, so they, people were like, let's make a zine and we'll sell a zine. Like, let's, I'm gonna go play at the coffee house and things like that. So that all totally worked. And then the other thing was we got a lot of queer people who came to play the game. And they fell in love with the characters. Good. Because the characters are actually a fixture of the game.
Yeah, they are.
And one of the one of the playtesters, as we were reading out the characters, was like, I feel like you're calling out my past self. Like I feel like you're calling out my teenage years right here with these characters. So it was good. All the characters came off very well, and we learned a lot. The really interesting thing is, and we talk about this on Pandas this week, which will go up next week, is Senda and I co-GM'd that game. Not on purpose. We started by, I was primarily running, and Senda was kind of watching and taking notes, and then I got stuck on something, and I went to look in the rules, and Senda just leaned in and started running the game again. And then all of a sudden we were like, holy shit, this works. So we're going to, and we talk all about this on Pandas this week and next week, how we're going to co-GM game. We're going to go take this to not just the Ditch Lilies, but another published game that none of us have written. We're going to co-GM it at a convention, and concurrent GMing, both of us sitting there just playing back and forth off the group. So if you want to hear how that's getting negotiated, because that's all getting negotiated on Pandas. We're having a big discussion on Pandas about how that's going to work. How will we make this work? How will we hand things off? What's the overall power dynamic? When we're in game, when we're prepping game, things like that.
That's going to be interesting as hell.
But it was cool. It worked. It totally worked in game. And after we did it, we kind of looked at each other and we're like, oh shit. Is that a thing? Is that a thing we could try? Chris has always referred to this as, the Devil's Triangle.
I have never called it.
You have to.
You came up with that name for it.
You did not.
You came up with that name. No, you did.
Anyway.
That's not the kind of joke I would have made 5 years ago.
I feel like that's the kind of joke you made 5 years ago. Anyway.
I deny your reality.
Because only one of us would call it a Devil's Triangle.
You!
The other one would call it fun.
No, not 5 years ago.
I would have.
You were still super far in the closet.
I think we lost
the camera. Sorry, everybody. That's a problem, even though it's plugged in.
Yeah. Can people still hear us?
They can still hear us.
Okay. Don't panic, anyone. The camera went night-night.
You can still hear us. Sorry that you can't see us.
It's all right. We'll cruise into we'll get ready to cruise into the after show. Anyway, Metatopia was good. I got a chance to take Senda and Bob to a place called Funk and Waffles in Syracuse. The quote of the evening was, the waffle is the brownie.
Yep. The waffle is the brownie. Oh my.
That was the dessert. It was a brownie waffle with ice cream on top.
A brownie waffle with ice cream on top?
Yeah, it was, and the way I was reading it, I thought it was waffle, brownie, ice cream, whipped cream. And I'm like, where's the brownie? Where's the brownie? And they're like, the waffle is the brownie. And I'm like, oh my God, why didn't I think of that?
So I went right from Metatopia to a work trip. That was a brutal transition. I literally dropped Senda off at the airport, got in my car, drove 2 hours to Syracuse while rehearsing my talk, walked in, checked into the conference, and an hour and a half after I checked in the conference, had to give a talk to coworkers on worky stuff. So that was a thing. You and I, Bob, are playing Forbidden Lands.
Yes.
And Things from the Flood.
Yes.
Both of those games are going smashingly, I feel.
Yes, they absolutely are.
Our Things from the Flood game is so teen as fuck.
Oh, the drama is
palpable,
amazing, palpable. We've had some really deep scenes.
Yeah. Really deep scenes on what is our first mystery. We haven't even dug that deep into it, but it's going on, and I love it.
I mean, these are kids that in the previous game, in Tales from the Loop, the kids don't die.
Right.
And the first thing we do is we find the dead body of one of the kids we know from school.
Yep.
And we're processing this and trying to make peace with it and understand it, and having scenes with each other about it than our parents, and it's just like deep,
Yeah.
heavy stuff, and it's so good.
It's really good drama. Like I'm loving the drama level of that game. And then Forbidden Lands has just been a fantastic romp. You cleared the ruins and now have a stronghold.
That game is working in so many ways that we're just like, yep, this is it.
I don't even get, like, I'm not even sure why, but it totally does. And we're back live. Thank you, Chris.
Yay.
Hot swapped our...
I forgot to plug it in.
That's all right.
Everybody.
Anyway, I filled that time. Forbidden Lands Things from Flood is going great. I played a fuck ton of Minecraft. I played a bunch when we were testing the pack.
Yep.
And then as soon as the new one went live, I dove right into the new pack. I played a lot. I don't even want to talk about how many hours I've logged into that game, and I don't care. Like, I'm having so much fun, and everyone's back, and I love it.
Yep.
I started playing this app on my phone called Block Breaker.
Block Breaker.
It's like a advanced version of Arkanoid. You remember Arkanoid, right?
Yeah.
So it's like 3D Arkanoid. Like, you're still on the ground hitting the ball around, but like the blocks that you're breaking are like in towers and shapes and stuff. And I wasn't paying attention to it for a while. And then I went and looked at my rankings, and like some of my rankings are like above 100. Like, I'm like
he was
ranked
14th in the world.
I'm ranked
today.
like 14th out of all players on the last set of boards. Like, that's fucked up. I'm 57 out of all players. I think like 89,000 players. I'm 57 for number of blocks broken.
That's a lot of blocks.
That's
That's
lot
redonkulous,
of
man.
Yeah. And I'm playing it now. Like, I've unlocked everything in the game. Like, there's an in-game currency. You know, you get to buy better stuff. I bought everything that can be bought in the game. I can't buy any more stuff.
Clearly, you have played a metric ton of that
A
game.
metric ton of that game. Plus, I think I'm actually pretty good at it.
Clearly.
I've been having fun with that. And then, like, you guys,
I think I'm just gonna leave that Block Breaker app alone so that I don't.
don't ruin it. You can't ruin it for me now because I'm done.
Oh, okay.
Like, my arc is almost ending where I'm going to get bored of this game and delete it.
I just want somebody to say block breaker 5 times fast.
Right? No. I also been watching The Mandalorian, kick ass.
hard to do.
And I went and saw 21 Bridges.
Yes, we saw 21 Bridges
Yeah,
together.
that's right. I forgot because Dante got sick, so you and I went and saw 21 Bridges. It's pretty good.
It's okay.
It's not. Right. It's not.
Here's the thing about 21 Bridges, okay? When you go to see another movie and all of a sudden they come up with this trailer and they're like 21 Bridges from, you know, not Marcus and McFeely,
the Russo brothers. Yep.
and you're like, oh, you know. I thought, based on the way they were
Sure.
putting their names out, I thought they directed it. They just helped produce it.
right.
Some other dude that I've never heard of directed it.
It's an okay corrupt
And it's
cop.
kind of a told story, you know, like it's been done many times before.
I'll be honest. I figured.
It sounds like it wasn't told in a remarkably good way.
I figured-
not in a bad
I mean, it
way.
was entertaining.
It was entertaining, but I figured it out like in the first 15 minutes.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
as soon as it
you
went
kinda
down, I'm
see
like,
a lot,
oops.
You see a lot of it coming, and I mean, the interesting parts were the performances by some of the characters. I mean, they had J.K. Simmons in as one of the cops.
Yep, he was good.
Of course, Chadwick Boseman as the
Very
main
good.
character. He was really good, and it's weird hearing him speaking in regular voice rather than the,
Yeah.
the
the Wakandan accent.
Yeah.
accent.
But he was good, and I'm, you know, he's.
Is it-
I
is
mean,
it what is the proper
Wakandan.
the
Wakandan,
Wakandan
yeah.
accent? Okay.
Yeah.
He's a kick-ass actor. Like, he's actually a better actor than this movie was.
Yes.
Like he did just fine in this movie. He could not have done better because the movie wasn't better.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was a solid B. Like,
Yeah.
I don't regret that I don't regret that I saw it in the theater.
Yeah.
I also probably don't need to see it again. Like, that's where I fall with
Yep.
it. Like, I saw it once and I was like, yeah, cool.
Oh man, you know what I saw in the theater since we were off?
What's that?
I went and saw Zombieland 2.
No, did you like
That
it?
movie's hilarious.
Yeah, it's
I like
good.
the Zombieland movie.
Yeah, no, that's solid.
As soon as you satirize something, like, I'm in. So
Oh yeah, sure.
that's why I like Snow
There
Crash
you
so
go.
much.
Right. Yeah, I think that's pretty much my. I did some cooking and stuff. Like, I made cranberry sauce for the first time.
I did some cooking too.
Yeah. I made my own cranberry sauce for Thanksgiving dinner, and it was
Nice.
delicious.
You didn't bring us any?
Dude, I got a fuck ton of it. Do you want
Why
some?
didn't you bring some with you?
I didn't know people were still eating cranberry sauce this late in the year. What? Dude, I
Just
like,
because Thanksgiving's over doesn't
So-
mean cranberry sauce is
so-
no longer a thing.
So next week there'll be cranberry sauce on the show.
I guess, but what the fuck
Next
are we
week
gonna
there
eat
will
it
be
with?
cranberry sauce on the show.
I don't know. Well, I'll make some mashed potatoes. I don't know. What do you put on? What do you put
All I
cranberry
need
sauce
is a
on?
little dish
Turkey.
of cranberry sauce, and we can just
Oh.
sit here on camera and go.
Oh, by the way, we're having so anybody who's listening to this that's local, we're having like a Christmas, Thanksgiving, Friendsgiving thing here, and you're both invited. You can bring your cranberry sauce to that.
When is it?
It's like the 20th.
Okay, I'll have to look.
Of
I also have
December?
to see if this cranberry sauce will make it that long,
All
or if
of-
I have to make more.
If you would like an invite out there in Misdirected Markland, let me know if you're local. And come hang out with us. We
Yeah.
like you all.
John, come up from Texas. Go see your family.
John, if you're gonna come up for Texas.
Yes,
Yeah,
we need
go
to see Evil John in person.
Evil John needs to go visit family. Get
Yeah.
on that, John. Cash in some of those frequent flyer miles. I know where you fly. I've seen it. I've seen it on
Yeah.
Twitter and stuff.
If for some reason you're going to be one of those people that that really wants to hang out with us and you're coming in from out of town, please let me know so I can make sure there's somewhere for you to sleep.
Yeah, we can arrange things.
Yeah. All right, you want to wrap this up and head into the after show for a little bit?
Wrap it up.
Let's do some Patreon shout-outs. We haven't done those in a while. And
Well, because we haven't done a show in a while.
I know, and since it's the beginning of the month, we will do the Royal Court.
Court it up, my friend.
Eileen Barnes, the Duchess of Pandas Talking Games. Andrew Dacey, the Warden of Whiskies. Andy Olson, the Duke of Dice. Brian Kurtz, the Royal Doctor of Physics. Christopher Gray, the Spy Master of MMP. Eric Bunce, the Duke of Gators and the Lord of Beefness, and the only person who will ever have two titles. It has been
Yes.
declared, unless of course the Queen or the Fist decide otherwise. Then I'll have to.
The fist doesn't get to decide.
I mean the Gauntlet. Sorry.
Well, the gauntlet might be able to
That's
decide,
what I meant.
but the queen for sure.
That's what I meant. GM Drayman of the Lord of the After Show, which we'll get to in a second. Jared Rasher, the Scribe of MMP. Jesse Edmond, the Royal Doctor. Jim Likes Games, the Royal Merchant. Didn't you folks see
We
Jim
did.
Likes Games like last?
Hell yeah.
We patronized his
Drop
shop.
some cash on that.
I bought a second set of DCC dice.
I bought some DCC stuff.
How is Jim?
Fantastic, as always.
Good. John C. LeMay, the Guard at the End of the World. It's lonely out there. John Carney, who needs to come to Buffalo to hang out with
Yes.
us.
Yeah, John, get on that.
Also, the Court Necromancer. Kevin Lovecraft, the Royal Beard. Merrick Blackman, the Royal D&D Reviewer. Michael Dinos, the Inquisitive Mark. Oh, I'll do this one in my...
Mike D, regular on the Minecraft server. It's
Yes.
nice to actually chat with Mike D.
I'm going to do the rest of these in the 50s. The 50s.
In the 50s, boy.
Hope
I
Boys.
can't do it.
P.K. Sullivan, the Queen's Royal Rocketeer. Richard Wyatt, the Captain of the Royal Airship Fleet. That's why I did those two, because they're totally both pulp titles. Rob Abrazato, the Gauntlet of the Queen. And Bob, what are you?
The fist of the queen.
It's not awkward. Schmitty, the Keeper of the Labyrinth. Toby Sennett, the Baron of Britannia. Todd Crapper, the Prophet of Probability. And the most fascinating name in gaming. And Craig, just Craig, the Lord of One Name.
Thank you, everyone, for listening tonight.
If you are free Tuesday evenings at 8 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. the Queen's time, you're welcome. Come join us live on Twitch, where you can chat with our other listeners in the awesome Chat Room for Life and ask us the occasional question.
You know, if you can't make it to the live show, check out our podcast each week wherever you get your podcasts and take a listen to some of the other shows in the Misdirected Mark Network, such as Down with D&D, Bone, Stone, and Obsidian, Pandas Talking Games, The Gnomecast, Zhang Yu, this is the old one. I need to really update this. Zhang Yu Hustle, She's a Super Geek, and Bonus Experience. Man, I almost read names that chose it.
Wow, how did they get on there?
I don't know. I thought we got rid of those.
Oh, better check the
Anyways,
template.
you should also check out the FM Gamers every other Monday from 7 to 9 right on this channel, or the Bicons, who are on every other Sunday from 8 to 10. You can and should also check out our sibling podcast, the Tabletop Bellhop, the Knights of the Night, and the always amazing Gaming MBS.
After you have accepted your complication and picked up your reward, leave us some feedback. You can reach us directly via email at mmp@misdirectedmark.com. Hit us up on the Twitters. The show and the network is at MisdirectedMark. He's at Robert M. Everson. He's at The Light 101. And I am at DNA Phil.
If you like what we do here and on the other shows in the Misdirected Mark Network, you can support our Patreon campaigns. MMP, Down with D&D, and Pandas Talking Games are at patreon.com/MMP. She's a Super Geek is at patreon.com/SassGeek. Zhang Hustle is at patreon.com/Zhang Hustle. And last but certainly not least, Bonus Experience is at patreon.com/Bonus Experience. Patrons of MMP, Down with D&D, and Pandas Talking Games get access to the after show, pre-production show notes, musical parodies, the Pandas Talking Games bonus outtakes, and other special releases.
Oh, also the sneak attack from Down with D&D. That is the new bonus 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes of me and Sean talking about D&D. So, by the way, for $1, for one single dollar,
$1.
4 times a month about, you're getting 45 more minutes of extra content between the 3 shows.
That's a lot, man.
That's a lot of extra content for a single dollar.
A whole dollar.
Whole dollar. I'll do it in the voice. This has been a Misdirected Mark production, the media arm of Encoded Designs. I am now going to take this mic and drop it off of an airship. Mic drop!